of river flows. What can be an experiment leading to isolating high flows? So let's look at the hydrograph. Like the Po River, we have an hydrograph. So this is QT, and this is time. And our time series starts from 1920 up to 2009. And I have this hydrograph. Whatever it is. Of course, I'm interested in the higher values, but how can I define my experiment? The literature proposes two approaches. The first one is to isolate for each year the highest value and pick up it. So it means that I have here the hydrograph that is subdivided in years, and for each year I get the highest value. And therefore, for the Po River, I get 90 annual maxima. It is important to check why I look at the maxima, annual maxima, because it is important to check that these events are disjoint. They have to be independent. In statistical terms, we say that they have to be independent. Why is that? Because I need to look at the frequency of occurrence of these events. So if the high flow, during an event, I have several high flow values. During an event, I have, if the event lasts for 20 days and observations are taken at daily time scale, during an event I have 20 values of high flows. But they correspond to only one event. I am interested in studying the frequency of events. And therefore I have to make sure that for each event I pick only one observation, which is the maximum. So in this case, look at here. Let's suppose that these are 2 years, 2 separated years, and there is an event crossing December 31st. So in this case, what I did is to pick up 2 values, because one is the maximum of the previous year, one is the maximum of the next year, but these are 2 values referred to the same event. This is not correct. We need to get only one, because again, I'm studying the frequency of the events. And therefore, each event should count 1. Now, usually when we pick up the annual maxima, we don't run the risk of crossing the end of the year with the same event, at least in a continental climate. In a continental climate, usually we have the flood season that is not closed to the end of the year. So this is why literature says pick up the annual maxima, because they are very likely to be independent. They are very likely to be disjoint. So this is a first option. And then we studied the frequency of the annual maxima. Of course, you may say, why do you make a selection of observations? Why don't you take all of them? And they say, no, because if I take all of them, I am not sure that they are disjoint. And if I take all of them, it's meaningless, because I'm interested in the high values. And keep in mind that in the past, people didn't have any computer, didn't have any way of automatic calculation. They had to compute by hand. So they were much interested in making a selection. They were much interested for the Po River in reducing from 32,000 numbers to 9. And this is why you pick up only the maximum of each year. This is the first suggestion by the literature. Isolate your experiment in this way. Your experiment is pick up the max of each year and just analyze the frequency, probability of these maxima. This is the first option. There is a second option, which is instead of getting the maximum per each year, which is not really efficient because you may have years where the maximum is very low, like this year, and you may have years where more than one high flow event occurred, even if they are disjoint. You may have an event in spring, an event in autumn, and if you just take the maxima, you are discarding a possible second value, which is important. So the second option suggested by the literature is draw a threshold and pick up all the peaks over threshold. These are the two alternatives that we will check. And this is more, the peak over threshold method is more reasonable, is more justified from a physical point of view because you are sure that you are taking all the maximum. The only problem is to check that these maxima are independent. You have to make sure that there is enough time distance between the peaks that you pick up over the threshold, enough time distance to ensure that events are independent. Okay, I'm proposing to stop here for the break. I have a question for you.